This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live is probably powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, a tablet, desperately seeking an Xbox Series X, games, and a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. And remember that current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% on almost everything. To browse the products, to learn more about that discount, to see what's on sale, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. Hello, Internet. Sorry for the interruption. I just want to let you know we're doing an audience survey to get to know you better, what you like, what you don't, what we might need to change. It's completely free. It takes about 60 seconds. If you go to PLUGHITZlive.com/audience and fill out the survey, you'll be entered for one of 2 CES prize packs with bags and shirts and a whole lot more. Again, it takes 60 seconds, PLUGHITZlive.com/audience. And now, back to the show. Interesting rumors going around right now about what's happening over at Apple. We know that the company has leaned in pretty hard to subscriptions. Over the last year or so, we saw the Apple One subscription come up to be the one ring to rule them all that includes a bunch of their services. They've also got things like Apple Arcade and iCloud and Apple TV Plus and Apple News Plus and a whole bunch more. The next generation of that looks like it might be a subscription service for your phone, computer, and tablet. Likely starting with the iPhone, because there's already a type of this in the wild, where you can, the iPhone Forever plan. It looks like Apple wants to expand that and not exactly have it be a lease, but maybe have it be just, I don't know. I don't know what they're looking to accomplish here, Avram, especially in a world where subscription fatigue is already real and you can already do this with a phone through your carrier.
Right. I mean,
I don't know what they're up
carriers to. I don't know if it still exists. I meant to go check and see, but didn't Sprint or somebody have a new iPhone every year plan?
Mm-hmm.
The iPhone Forever. Do those plans still exist?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you get the best iPhone when you get those, or are you getting the?
It depends mid-range? It depends on the level that you choose, and at the end of the year. So you could do it the day before the next generation comes out, and that's your new timetable. So you'll always be one day short of the newest. But after your 12 months is up, you get the choice to give it back, pay it off on the spot, keep paying it off, and then add the new device. So from there, in my experience, you could choose whatever level every time, every year, no matter what you did.
Is Sprint the only one to do that?
Even Apple does it.
Right. So,
but they don't do it for computers. They don't do it for tablets. Okay. I don't think they do it for the watches, though Sprint does, or T-Mobile maybe still does. But it sounds a lot like taking the carrier lease program and applying it to essentially computers and tablets and other Apple-y things. But I don't know, because they haven't announced it exactly, right? It's secret rumor, right? But it sounds like they want to take that concept and apply it to other devices. But I don't know. We don't know what the rules are going to be, right? Are they going to let you buy it at the end, or are you going to be stuck replacing? Are you going to keep the newest thing, or at the end of it, do you just keep your hardware? Is this the Xbox thing, or is this something else, right? Because you can do that with Xbox, where you get the hardware, you get the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you get a bunch of things, which is what it sounds like they're doing here. In reality, it sounds like they want to take the idea of the iPhone Forever plan and add to it things like Apple One and Apple Care. That's my
And
read. That's my
also
take on it.
get the money that the carrier instead of the carrier getting it.
Yep.
I mean, I think it has more credibility probably coming from Apple, although it's not going to be part of your I don't think it would be part of your carrier billing, so that's
Mm-mm.
another.
It
So
might go to
that's
your
it's
it might go to your Apple account.
yeah. I mean,
Pay it off on your Apple card. Oh,
I mean, I think the thing is, obviously, you can see why Apple would want to do this.
mm-hmm.
Um, for phones, it doesn't. I guess it really depends on how desperate you are to get a new phone every year. It seems to
Sure.
me that the level of innovation in phones and the need for new phones is less now than it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
For sure.
you and I have been doing this long enough that we remember when it was like, oh, next year you can get a 4G phone. Now,
Next year you're
uh,
gonna get a 3G phone.
it,
Sorry, that was an iPhone
now
1 joke.
Yeah. Now it's like, most current phones, although maybe you want to get one that supports millimeter wave, uh, do 5G. And so, what do you need? Do you need a new one next year?
Right.
Uh, people are holding onto their phones longer. Car- uh, this is obviously a problem for the phone business because they want you to
Right.
because they want you to part with it sooner, uh, and get a new one. Uh, it's
So if they can do it,
they
if
do,
they can do it as recurring revenue, so you forget that
yeah,
you're always paying for it. Oh, but you get a
yeah,
new phone when the new phones come out. Okay.
yeah. Plus,
I mean,
you're not hit with one giant bill at once, so it doesn't
right.
seem as bad.
Right.
Uh, Now
Though you may pay that
so
bill for the rest of your life.
yes, yes. If you were to think about it, right? If you were to think about it more, but I guess it depends on how long you would own your phone. I
Right.
mean, I think a lot of people hold on to their phones now longer than 2 years. Uh, Now, I had my last phone before the one I have. I held on to it for like 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and by the time, and it didn't really break, except for except for the charging port was getting messed
Right.
up to where it wouldn't, like, if you blew on it wrong, it would stop charging.
Right.
Um, but they don't make these things obviously easy to repair. I mean, you could say that there's environmental concerns here because there's an incredible amount of e-waste being generated by constant upgrade cycle.
Right.
Uh, Something which, by the way, we discussed on the Tom's Hardware show this week with no less than the folks from Lenovo,
Mm-hmm.
who the guy who's like the head product manager for ThinkPad, who was talking about how they're looking at sustainability when they're building things and how they're getting to recycle e-waste and things like that. But I digress. So I can see why Apple would want you to do this. Obviously, new phones do get better every year, but still, it's, for a lot of people, they would want to hold on to the phone for 2, 3 plus years. On top of that, we have now, if you were to take that model and apply it to computers, to MacBooks, let's say, it actually makes maybe a little more sense in the MacBook world, because if you are paying it a little bit at a time, it doesn't seem as bad. And
True.
Macs are painfully expensive,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, you want your MacBook Pro that costs $2,500, like that that is painful. So, like, I don't know. Do they come up with a plan where you're spending, like, I don't know, $200 a month for your Mac or something like that,
Right.
and you have it on a 2 year on a lease, and then after a certain amount you get a new one? I mean, people might go for that,
They might.
even though if you do the math on it, it probably, I'm sure it will come out that buying one and holding on to it for several years would be cheaper.
Right.
But um, that's a model I could see people going for. In the way that they also lease cars, it's like I kind of want the new and the fresh every couple of years. So
Right. It
I
could.
I
This could
can
be
I can
because of
see
their
that.
It could be because of their relationship. That created the Apple Card, right? It could be working on a similar ish system, right, where you're financing it through a similar system as the Apple Card, and maybe when you do that, you
Yeah,
get some things with it, like TV Plus or News Plus, or maybe even the Apple One subscription. It's an interesting
yeah,
idea. We've definitely seen it before in various ways. Like I said, the Xbox thing, right? Uh,
right.
that that has existed for a couple of years now. So it's a semi-solid concept. It is always interesting when a hardware company gets into like directly into this kind of a thing, though. It's always like, oh, what are we up to here? Because normally financing is done third party, even if you do it, from the company's website or whatever. It's usually done third party. But this sounds
Yeah.
like it's going to be
It
direct, and I cannot wait for them to
it
announce
actually
this.
is. I mean, but this sounds like a lease, not. I mean, you could call it financing, but it sounds like it's a leasing program with the expectation that after a certain period of time, you're going to trade it in, get another one, and lease again, and not just keep the old one.
Right?
One thing you really don't see a lot of is like you go. I mean, laptops are not cheap. A good one anyway, right?
True.
You go onto like the Lenovo website, and you want to buy yourself like a $1,500, $2,000 ThinkPad. They do not, they do not offer. What they have is they have like, I think there's a third party financing system like
Right.
Klarna or something,
Right.
where you
Right.
can sign up with them. I don't know if Klarna is a good trustworthy system to use. Obviously, another option is people to just keep a giant balance on their credit card, but that is the least desirable because those rates are always the worst.
Right.
So,
Astronomical if you
it's,
blink your eyes too many times in one day.
yeah. I mean, those are not a fixed rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, yeah. I mean, I think having something that makes it easier for people to pay for these large purchases is good. And for some folks, even though I'm sure the math won't be in their favor, they they will want um, to do this just to keep getting fresh Apple
Right.
products.
Right. It all makes me think there was a meme going around, I think last week. A girl said she was talking to this guy on the bus. She really liked him. Then she saw that he had an iPhone 6, and she's like, "Ooh, no, that's not going to work." And her friend's like, "You were on a bus." which which kind of does to some extent. We talked many years ago about the Apple customer mentality, and I mean that plays into it perfectly. And this, I think, kind of takes advantage of it, kind of in everybody's favor ish. Thank you, chat. Takes advantage ish of that desire to want the latest Apple thing, not necessarily because you care, but because you care that other people see you with it. So we'll we'll see. It's not official yet. This all comes from a report from somebody, Bloomberg. Their reports tend to be pretty solid on this stuff, though. There's a leaker inside Apple that knows somebody at Bloomberg, because they tend to get these early things pretty right. So my guess is we'll probably hear about this pretty soon. But until then, it's all conjecture. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.